Hey yo guys, this is Jarrett aka the Saint of Sins on Xbox Live, bringing you some more MLB thoughts with once again the Cleveland Indians versus the Toronto Blue Jays on MLB 2K12. I'm going to be quickly rolling into my predictions to start off this video, and we begin with John Danks and the Chicago White Sox facing off against Justin Masterson and the Cleveland Indians. Throughout his career, Danks has struggled against the Indians, posting a 3-7 record with a .479 career ERA. Oddly enough, throughout the entire month of April/March, he has posted a 7-11 record with a .332 ERA over 24 game starts. So it is very likely that he could have a strong performance in this outing, but may fail to get any type of run support to help him in his cause of grabbing a victory for the Southside Sox. While Masterson has a 3-4 career record with a .209 ERA against the White Sox. For me, this matchup favors the Indians over the White Sox to end out this series. Jaime Garcia of the Cardinals will face off against Johnny Cueto and the Reds. Though he would throw 7 shutout innings on 3 hits and 2 walks with 4 strikeouts, Cueto's numbers against the Cardinals look very shaky. The combination of Carlos Beltran, Lance Berkman, David Freese, Rafael Furcal, Matt Halladay, John Jay, and Yadier Molina proves effective against Cueto, as they are responsible for 38 hits and 114 at-bats against the 26-year-old right-hander. They're also responsible for 30 RBIs. Meanwhile, Garcia is posting a .211 batting average against the Reds team, having surrendered only 28 hits and 133 at-bats to the Reds with 3 home runs and 10 RBIs. He also boasts a 2-1 record with a .422 ERA lifetime at the Great American Ballpark. So it's not uncommon that the Reds could hit off of him at their own home ballpark, but it's unlikely that Garcia will not get run support to help him win out the decision. Boston Red Sox ace Jon Lester takes to the mound to face off against Ricky Romero and the Toronto Blue Jays. In his last April start against the Red Sox on the 18th of 2010, Romero surrendered 5 runs on 8 hits and 5 walks through 4 1/3 in a 9-1 losing effort. Thus far in his short career, Romero has posted a 4-6 career record against the Red Sox with a 7.12 ERA in 13 games starting. He has surrendered 59 runs on 90 hits in 67 innings pitched with 39 walks. 10 of the hits have been home runs. Meanwhile, Lester posts an impressive 10-4 record with a .306 career ERA against the Blue Jays. Further hurting the chances of the Blue Jays in this matchup would be the fact that starters Edwin Encarnacion, Jose Bautista, Brett Lowry, Adam Lynn, Eric Timms, Yunel Escobar, Colby Rasmus, and JP Arancibia are all struggling, batting under .250. The worst on this list being Arancibia, who has only collected 1 hit in his previous 15 at-bats as of Tuesday night. And given that Jose Bautista is only a career .205 hitter off of Jon Lester in his 39 at-bats, it doesn't appear that Bautista will be a catalyst in driving the team forward in a victory over Lester. Tampa Bay's James Shields takes to the mound to face off against Justin Verlander and the Detroit Tigers. This one could read as a pitching duel, though both pitchers seem to be hit pretty hard by the other's offense. Detroit has collected 36 hits and 113 bats against Shields, while the Rays have collected 36 hits and 126 at-bats against Verlander. Despite these numbers, Shields in 7 starts has 1 complete game with a 4.0 record and a .374 ERA, while Verlander in 10 starts with 1 complete game boasts a 6-1 record with a .360 ERA over the Rays. Further analysis into the splits, and we see that Shields has a 2-0 record with a 3 ERA at Comerica Park. Thus far, both teams offensively have been red hot, with the Tigers sitting on the best team batting average in the league of .345, and the Rays sitting at the 3rd best with a .302. With the way these offenses are hitting right now, it's likely both starters will be knocked out early in favor of long outings from the bullpens. Though one would hope that this becomes a low-scoring pitching duel, I expect this one to be a firefight slugfest from inning to inning. And the start the Tigers have with Austin Jackson leading the team in hits with 9, I expect there will be a lot of scoring opportunities for Cabrera and Fielder to pick up on. National sensation Steven Strasburg would take to the mound to face off against the 11-year left-handed veteran Johan Santana. Last time out, Santana would pitch 5 shutout innings against the Atlanta Braves. Thus far this season, the Braves sit at the 28th worst overall batting average of 165. By contrast, the Nationals are leaps and bounds better, sitting on a team batting average of 224 that places them 19th overall. Through 9 starts against the Nationals, however, Santana posts a 6-2 record, surrendering 21 runs on 53 hits through 60 innings pitched over 9 starts. Johan's last April start against the Nationals on April 11th, 2010, saw a stat line of 5 earned runs on 5 hits and 3 walks with 1 home run over 5 innings. This was following his performance against Florida, where he had pitched 1-run ball on 4 hits and 2 walks through 6 innings pitched. Meanwhile, Strasburg's one and only start against the Mets saw him surrender 2 runs on 4 hits and 3 walks in 5 innings pitched. It's more than likely that scoring for either team will have to come off the weakness of the opposing bullpen. Once it gets down to this level, obviously the better bullpen belongs to Washington. Brew Crew's Yovani Gallardo will take on Cubbies' Ryan Dempster. Both sport amazing stat lines against the opposing team. Gallardo, with a 4-1 record in 10 starts, has a 2.93 ERA, while Dempster, in 47 game appearances, has a 15-5 record with 10 saves and a 2.75 ERA against Milwaukee. The way this one will likely break down is whether or not the Cubs offense can finally spark enough run support to back up Dempster's bid for 16, or if Dempster can simply outduel Gallardo by completely shutting down the Brewers offense. Much like with yesterday's pick, I'm going to be banking more on the Brewers offense to carry them through and support their starter by bombarding the other team with bigger hits. Wrapping up in Oakland, Brandon McCarthy once again takes to the mound for his 3rd start of the season, facing off against Bruce Chen and the Kansas City Royals. Despite having a career 60-58 record with a 4.50 ERA, Chen was more than effective against a potential playoff contender in the Anaheim Angels by pitching 6 shutout innings against the Halos. But against the Athletics, he has a career 4.61 ERA with a 2.3 record in 11 game appearances. However, Brandon McCarthy seems worse. Against the Royals, McCarthy sports an unhealthy 5.48 ERA with a 1-1 record over 10 game appearances. In fact, his last start against Kansas City was on May 7th, 2011, in which he surrendered 4 runs on 7 hits and 2 walks through 8 1/3 innings pitched. And given how bad these pitchers are against the opposing lineups, looking at the offenses seems to do nothing in helping break this tie, as both clubs are hitting .225 as a team and are literally 2 points apart on on-base percentage. The only advantage goes to the Kansas City Royals in slugging, as they're hitting .388 versus Oakland's .361. Nothing really seems to differentiate these two teams, but I have to pick one. So let's ride out on this Kansas City wave and see where it takes us. Corey Lupke and the Padres will host Joe Saunders and the Diamondbacks out at Petco Park. Thus far, the woes for Lupke continues as he sits on a 6.27 ERA for the months of March and April. Also bothersome for the 27-year-old, he's pitching a 5.50 ERA in 5 appearances with 3 starts against the Diamondbacks. And of the 18 hits he surrendered to them, 7 of them are for home runs. Saunders will likely cruise over the Padres, given that his career stat line against them is 25 runs on 55 hits and 12 walks over 57 innings. The National League East continues to heat up with pitching duels, as Josh Johnson and the Miami Marlins will face off against Roy Halladay and the Philadelphia Phillies. The last time these two squared off, Halladay was on the hook for the 2-1 loss, with a stat line of 2 runs on 5 hits and 2 walks over 8 innings with 9 strikeouts, while Johnson, who would not get a decision in this matchup, surrendered 1 run on 6 hits, 1 home run, 3 walks, in 7 innings with 7 strikeouts. What will likely tip the balance in Johnson's favor is the lack of Ryan Howard and Chase Utley in the lineup. The only serious RBI threat on Johnson will be Jim Thome, as he has 3 on a hit and 2 walks in 3 plate appearances. This one is likely to be a low-scoring affair that may sway in the favor of the Finns, as thus far in the season, the Phillies are only batting .198 as a team and have only scored 8 runs. Things will likely get worse before they get better until Ryan Howard is activated for duty. The Baltimore Orioles will hope to avoid the sweep as they send up Jake Arrieta to face off against CC Sabathia. The only notes worth pointing out in this one, Sabathia has a career 10-1 record with a 2.73 ERA in 12 starts in Camden Yards. Nothing else needs to be said. Wandy Rodriguez will take charge for the Astros as they hope to send a parting gift and a loss to Randall Delgado and the Atlanta Braves. With a 3-2 record and a 3.25 ERA against the Braves, there won't be much margin for error on Delgado's part in order for Delgado to keep the Braves afloat. Sadly, even the return of Chipper Jones to the lineup will not hurt Wandy, as he is lifetime 5 for 20 against the 33-year-old left-hander. No, instead, the Braves will have to hope on the bats of Matt Diaz, Martin Prado, David Ross, and Jack Wilson to really get the job done. With the exception of Diaz, all of them are hitting above 300 with more than 10 at-bats. Diaz, with his 8 hits and 27 at-bats, holds 3 doubles with 4 RBIs, slugging .407. What also hurts the Braves' chances is that collectively they're only batting .165, which places them 28th overall in the league for batting average. Sadly, I fear the worst, as Houston may pick up the victory here. Kevin Millwood returns to the ballpark in Arlington, this time in a Mariners uniform, as he faces off against Kobe Lewis and the Texas Rangers. Despite having 61 appearances at the ballpark, Millwood hosts an ugly 4.56 ERA with a 28-17 record. Uglier than that would be Kobe Lewis's 5.22 ERA over 55 appearances with a 19-14 record. Through his career, Millwood has had 3 starts against the Rangers and has posted a 4.95 ERA and an 0-2 record, surrendering 11 runs on 18 hits and 4 walks over 20 innings of work. 4 of the 18 hits were long balls. Lewis's numbers, on the other hand, tend to get better when he faces against the Mariners. Over 17 appearances, he has a 6-4 record and a 3.70 ERA, surrendering 39 runs on 91 hits and 34 walks over 92 1/3 innings pitched. And he has only surrendered 5 home runs to the Mariners. Though the Mariners are batting .271 as a team, ranking them 1 higher in team batting average in the league, the Rangers simply do everything else much better. The Rangers rank 8th on base with .317 and 7th in slugging with .488. If anything, I believe Millwood's woes in Arlington will continue. Jarrett Weaver and the Los Angeles Angels will host Carl Pavano and the Minnesota Twins. Against the Angels, Pavano boasts a 4-2 record with a 4.31 ERA over 7 starts. Meanwhile, Weaver's numbers against the Twins in 10 starts showcases a 5-2 record with a 3.90 ERA. This makes the matchup look a lot closer than it actually will be, as Pavano tends to struggle at Angel Stadium, posting a 5.40 ERA and a 2-1 record in 4 starts there. What also tips the balance in favor of the Angels winning this one outright is Jarrett Weaver, through the months of March and April, has a 15-6 record with a 2.57 ERA spread out 25 games. He also has 2 complete games with 1 shutout. Tim Lincecum will take charge for the Giants as he faces off against Jeremy Guthrie and the Colorado Rockies. During the months of March and April, Lincecum in 23 appearances has posted a 2.48 ERA with a 12-6 record, but at Coors Field, in 10 starts, he has a 3.61 ERA with a 4-3 record. Contributing to the 30 runs surrendered in 62 1/3 innings pitched would be 30 walks in addition to the 56 hits. The wild card here will be whether or not Guthrie's 12 fly balls from his last outing in Houston will return here, and whether or not the thin atmosphere in Colorado will be kind to them. Either way you slice it, I'm still looking at San Francisco as my choice. And the Pirates' Eric Bedard will face off against Dodgers' Jad Billingsley. Though Bedard had a solid outing hosting the Phillies, allowing 1 run on 6 hits and 1 walk, one has to remember that this is a Phillies lineup that is sorely missing Ryan Howard and Chase Utley, whereas the Dodgers will have a healthy Matt Kemp, Andre Ethier, and James Loney ready at the bat to antagonize Bedard. And after a monstrous performance against the Padres, I'm willing to bet that Billingsley will continue to build his Cy Young Award year by blanking the Pirates. That's going to do it for this edition of MLB Thoughts. I will see you guys later.